Welcome, welcome. We are very happy to be here for week two of the 2024 season of the Texas League Fantasy Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dwayne Debo Morrow. I'm here along with my fabulous co-host. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
I'm
I,
Robert
I,
Caldwell. I got T Mathis King. I got, you can see him from emblem behind me. Chargers are the game, are the team of the week, but we'll digress and talk about that later. Holla.
This is gonna suck this week.
wow. I'm Jared Cowan, aka the commish manager of Stairway to Evans, and I must commend Mr. Caldwell because I expected a much more petty introduction.
I'm
uh,
saving it. Save and spin, baby. Save and spin. Got to keep my stamina. I got it.
yeah, I got a feeling that that won't be the last we've heard about that game, and it is what it is, you know. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet. So this is the week where I'm gonna have to hold my mule because his Chargers did have a great game against my Raiders. But as he said, we'll get to that later. We're gonna touch on it briefly. You ain't just gonna just beat me across the head with that bush. All right, Jared. What is our kickoff question this week?
Oh, I have a question for you, gentlemen. What is I know how I feel about it. I'll touch on that later. What is your take on making trades in fantasy after week one? Personally, I think that it's too early because somebody can have a good game and then somebody wants to trade for them, and then they can be trash for the rest of the season. They have that one good game, and then you regret yourself. Like, damn. How do y'all feel about week one trades?
Well, I could agree with you, but the flip side to that is if you catch another manager sleeping because they're not paying attention to the trade you make, that could actually be your little diamond in the rough. So, like, say somebody didn't actually have a good week, and you're like, okay, I know they're going to get better for whatever damn reason they believe they're going to get better, but I'm like, let me go and make this trade to an unsuspecting manager who really they're like, this person sucks. Why they want him? Like, they can have him, whatever. Bam! Then all of a sudden that next week, the person scores 30 points. Like, well, what the hell? So I can see both ways. But yeah, I would agree. After week one's probably too early, unless you know something like in the behind the scenes.
It's a very interesting question. Um, I think personally, I agree. I think it's a little bit too early in the season making a trade. Number one, for I think if you're the person that is offering a player for trade after week one, that means that I don't think you really believe in them for the rest of the season because you think that that game is going to be the best they can be that season. Um, on the flip side, I also think as a manager, trading away a piece in the season is pretty early. You haven't even gotten anybody's bye week yet. You don't know if there's going to be any injuries that you might need to account for, anything like that. So I just think making a move this early in the season would be like I think it would be jumping the gun either way. Um, but that is interesting because there's I already see trades. I'm in a few different leagues, and I already see trades floating around and people talking about X players on the block after week one. And I'm just like, interesting. But yeah, I think it's a tad early. What about you, Jared?
The reason I asked that question is because we all play in the same dynasty league, and like you said, people putting players on the block already. I'm like, it was one game. I'm not about to go out here and trade after you have one good game. I'm gonna need you to show that you actually can produce multiple weeks before I'm even gonna consider trading for somebody.
Right. Three trading someone I would say 3 weeks. Let me see what your first 3 weeks. I mean, fantasy seasons are even with the 18-week NFL season now, you gotta most leagues have a 14-week regular season, or even if you're still a league that just has a 13-week regular season. At minimum, I need to see how you do for 25% of the season before I'm willing to commit to a trade, especially in a dynasty league, because them dudes try to get crazy not only do they want players, they want to trade picks because it's a dynasty league. So it's hardly ever just a straight up player swap. So yeah, a little bit too early for my taste. All right. So week one of the NFL season is in the books. So 16 NFL teams are 1-0, 16 are 0-1. So gentlemen, I'm gonna throw this out there to Jared first since he kicked us off. Let me throw it back out there to him. Which NFL game did you think had the most surprising result over this past weekend?
I could say that for a lot of games, but the one that really was surprising, kind of had me scratching my head, was the Titans and the Bears.
Oh yeah.
The number one draft pick, Caleb Williams, had the most. What? You won a game? You didn't throw a touchdown? What did you do? Your defense bailed you out. Got it. Like, I looked at the stats. He ain't throw no touchdowns. I want to say he had like less than 100 yards passing. I might be making that up. I'm gonna look it up right quick, but I don't think he did much of anything. That just tells you how bad Will Levis.
You are not making it up. He had 93 passing yards,
Yeah,
14 of 29 for 93 passing yards, and only 15 rushing yards. So just barely over 100 total yards.
Oh yeah, hot garbage performance, but he goes down as a winner.
And even crazier is the fact that they were down 17-3 at the half. And the Titans, and like you said, the Bears defense went out and pitched the second half shutout. And their offense did just enough. And then they had let's see, just looking at the scores here. I think they had a defensive touchdown. But yeah, so I mean, the Titans just completely did nothing the second half of that game. But yeah. Not a performance that from a fantasy standpoint would make you say, oh man, I just gotta have Caleb Williams on my team. So if you started that rookie quarterback on your fantasy team in week one of his NFL debut, that was on you anyway. Because I mean, how bad does your team suck that Caleb Williams is your number one QB coming out the gate? I can't remember the exact stats, but it was like he was the first rookie to win his debut. I think rookie quarterbacks are like 1-13 now in their rookie season debuts. So yeah, it was not the stats were not on his side for him to have a good game or win that game.
All right. 1-13. Who was that? Marcus Mariota?
I don't no. He is the one. Caleb Williams is the one. Like they were 0-13 and something before that game. I was listening to it on the NFL pregame show on Sunday. But like
they talking about for the Bears or just in general?
No. Just in general. Rookie quarterbacks had not won their rookie debut game in several attempts. Something like that. Maybe it was 2-13.
I know Marcus Mariota won his because he played Jameis Winston, so somebody had to win.
Well, I also do not remember the exact time frame that we're
Maybe
talking
it's in the time because I remember obviously I watched that game and because it was number one versus number two, so Indeed. He might have been the one. He might have been like the first one to win in probably a long time.
Yeah,
and a lot of them winning.
But all right, Deuce. How about you? Which game did you had you shaking your head over this past weekend?
49ers and Jets. First off, let me just simply start by saying Aaron Rodgers needs to sit his ass down and shut up. This fool talking noise after the damn game. I don't know if y'all saw this fool talking, and when he was on the Pat McAfee show talking his ass off like he's an idiot. This fool told fans, go on the big bandwagon jumpers, don't follow us, just leave us alone. Does he realize he's on the damn Jets? He acting like he on the damn Eagles, on the freaking 49ers, acting like he on the damn Green Bay Packers again back when they was good. Okay, think of it like this. The last 2 years, the Jets have not had a quarterback because he got injured on the first damn drive. And he was out for the season. They had not had a quarterback. They had a decent defense. Their defense wasn't too shabby, but they're complaining like, we ain't got no one to throw the ball. We ain't got no one to throw the ball. Here comes freaking old man freaking Joe out of freaking, out of the freaking grave to come and play. And was he throw 160 damn yards and 1 touchdown? He was talking about he should throw it more to, what's that damn receiver's name? What is his name? Garrett Wilson. He said they should throw it more to Garrett Wilson. He goes, man, I got a great rapport with him. Then why the hell ain't you throw it to him during the damn game? If you talking all this, man, this is what I would do, blah, blah, blah. You had 60 minutes, bro. You ain't throw to this fool that many damn times in 60 minutes, and what happened? They put Tyrod Taylor in the damn game. Because you know what? You were stinking up the damn joint. They ain't had a good quarterback since maybe Joe Namath. Just saying. I don't know if it was a jacket or what, but I'm just saying. I was listening to First Take this morning, and Mad Dog went the hell off on freaking Aaron Rodgers. I've never heard this dude. He always shouting. Let's be real. Everyone, man, you don't know whether he's shouting or happy or sad. But damn, you'd have thought freaking Aaron Rodgers owed his ass some money because he's all like, he just needs to sit down and shut up. He ain't doing nothing for us right now. So unless he starts, I don't know, completing a pass, he needs to sit down and shut the hell up. So I'm just saying, yes, the 49ers are a solid team. They ain't had Christian McCaffrey. They had a dude running at running back. I didn't even know who the hell he was until he started running, but he had a hell of a game. So it's like all of a sudden now their defense can't do nothing either. So it's like, let Aaron Rodgers get on the field more. Okay, I get it. But 49ers were missing like 3 solid pieces, and they monkey stomped you. So it's like, I'm sitting watching these, I'm like, man, this ain't even fun to watch. This is just sad. And so that's just my take.
So let's see. Garrett Wilson he led the team in targets. He had 11 targets, 6 catches for 60 yards, no touchdowns. Lazard had 9 targets, which resulted in 6 catches for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Targets were not the problem. Throwing the ball to the man was the problem. I mean, Aaron Rodgers in 3.5 quarters, 13 for 21, $167, a touchdown and a pick. Tyrod Taylor in mop-up duty in the fourth, 6 for 8, 36 yards and a touchdown. So what's your
higher
point?
rating?
So that's all I'm saying. The opportunities were there. I think Aaron Rodgers is turning into a caricature of himself right now. When he first took over for the Packers, he was known that he wasn't doing a lot of talking. He was letting his play on the field talk. Over the last 3 years, he has transitioned. So every time Aaron Rodgers opens his mouth, it makes more sense to why the Packers were happy to let him go. I think that even if they didn't have a quarterback with the caliber of Jordan Love in the wings, that they would have happily let him walk at the end of his most recent contract because the juice was no longer worth the squeeze. He was no longer worth the headache. And that's a hard thing to say about a person that you let walk a year removed from an MVP season. So,
another funny thing about it is, so their defense was good. Now all of a sudden they can't get the offense off the field. Looking at the stats, San Francisco was on the field almost twice as much as New York. So the Jets' offense was on. So I'm like, now, granted, if it was more even, maybe he gets some more yards. Maybe he actually can do something. But you're only on the field 21 minutes and 20 seconds out of a whole game. It's like, damn, I'm surprised they scored 19 points.
The 49ers had some video game level clock control. They were running the ball.
They had 2 o'clock on.
They were using the whole play clock throughout the whole game. They did a great job. So we'll see. I mean, Aaron Rodgers still has a lot of talent on the football field. We'll see if he stopped. But what he needs to figure out is what Peyton Manning figured out at the end of his career, which is I need to start thinking more and not just letting my arm try to get me out of situations. Use my knowledge as a quarterback and take what's there instead of trying to force it. His arm is still pretty dang strong. Don't get it twisted. He's still got an above average arm, but he can't lead with it anymore. He's got to transition into being a thinking quarterback. My game was the Texans Colts, not just because of whoever won the game, because that really could have been anybody's game. I am excited about the prospect of the Colts and Texans having 2 of the bright young quarterbacks in the league and being able to battle it out for the next 10 to 12, 14 years in the AFC South. Anthony Richardson showed flashes of what could be expected and what they wanted to see from him when they drafted him last year. An early season injury last year ended his official rookie season, but this is almost like his rookie year. So if this was the NBA, he would still be eligible for Rookie of the Year again this year because he got hurt so early in the season last year. But unlike the NBA, this is just the NFL. So, I mean, Anthony Richardson, 212 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 56 on the ground, a touchdown. CJ Stroud, 234 through the air and 2 touchdowns. Only 13 yards rushing, but he got the most important stat, which was the W, and it was a division win. So, as they get down to later in the season and they're trying to figure out who's going to be the division winner this year in the AFC South, then we'll see. You know, so don't get it twisted. Even though Jacksonville, even though they lost to Miami in a very dramatic fashion, they're still going to be poking around and fighting in that division as well. Titans, I think, are going to be the basement of the division this year, but don't get it twisted. You know, they've always managed to give a lot of their division rivals a headache. So I think at the end of the season, we're going to see it come down to the Texans and the Colts. So I'm just looking forward to seeing these teams battle it out all throughout this year. All right. So now let's get into the recap of week 1 of the Texas League.
Yes, please. Let's do that.
Actually, we're going to skip that and just go right into week 2. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, if I was you, I would do that too. It's okay.
So we're going to start off with talking about our high score winner from last week. And we are going to make it a habit of inviting our weekly high scorer on for that week's show to see if they like to jump in and be a guest host. But unfortunately, this week's high score winner from 2 boobs, 2 balls, 1 goal is not going to be available. So they sent in a statement, and Jared is now going to read it on their behalf.
First off, the organization of 2 boobs, 2 balls, 1 goal would like to thank the podcast for a monumental day last week, having been picked to win unanimously by the panel for the first time in its podcast history. Not sure about that. I'm sure we've picked them before.
I don't think that that's true either, but we'll let that slide.
Oh, okay. While every team strives to perform to win every week, our goal is to have the highest points week to week. Draft day is always calculated and researched, which is why we feel as though this was no surprise for us week 1. We look forward to continuing our quest to dominate week to week. We know that will not be easy, and there will surely be bumps in the road, but our organization is committed to doing the best we can to make this happen. Wow.
Just wow.
Yeah. You know what? With that being said, let me send 2 boobs, 2 balls, 1 goal, their weekly prize before I forget. I'm going to send that right now, live on the show. Continue on.
All right. With that being said, we will jump into...
Actually, you know what? Mr. Caldwell, you keep track of the picks every week. Can you check at some point and find out if we have ever picked them, all 3 of us?
Okay, I can look into it. I can look into it.
We need to look into that.
Just wow.
I don't think that was the first time we've ever picked them to unanimously.
I don't either.
I also don't think that it was the very first time we picked them unanimously, because we've commented before about the fact that they often complain that we've picked against them. But hey, we will jump back into the rest of the games, and we will start off with the first big rivalry week game, which was between Devastator and Mathis King.
You want to start like this?
Take it away, Mathis King.
Well, let's just say that the Mathis King squad had a good week. We presented a good united front, having to come from behind to win because we were down by like 90 points. At the end of Thursday and into Saturday or Sunday morning, and then we're like, oh, that's right. All my players play in the afternoon and only like one of his. But you know what? It's okay. Because then, we came charging hard. And I'm like, Damn, am I going to win before my last two players play on Monday? Oh, yeah, yes, I am. Because, I distinctly remember last week that two gentlemen who I believe are exceptionally intelligent, Mr. Cow and Mr. Morrow here. I've known these brothers for almost 20 damn years. And like I said, I got some game, I'm pretty intelligent, but these two brothers are pretty damn smart too. Hand over fist, these two brothers are pretty smart. Did they make the dumbest pick they could ever make in their damn lives? I know they want to hate on me. Mr. Cowan called me grimy, and he ain't wrong. But this team knows a few things, or senior spreadsheet, if you will, knows a couple of things. Like when we play the Raiders this year, we ain't talking about the past, Mr. Morrow. So why don't you leave the past in the past, brother? This year, 2024, you know what? Let's look at some stats real quick, because I got a question for you, Mr. Morrow. If you were the head coach of the Raiders, because you lost your damn mind and didn't have another job, but let's pretend like you were the head coach of the Raiders. 4th and 1. You're going like, you know what? We're going to do something right now. We're going to make a first down. We're going to go for it. Why we lose a yard, Mr. Morrow? Why we lose a yard? You know what? It's rhetorical. You ain't even going to answer that.
I can tell. I'm going to answer the question. It was a terrible play call, and it led to another bad decision later on in a 4th and 1 situation where we should have gone for it when we didn't because of the terrible play call on the previous 4th and 1 opportunity. So I will say yes. In one situation, I didn't agree with the 4th and 1 call. I felt like we should have punted it. And then in the second situation, I felt like we got gun shy and we should have gone for it because we were rolling on that drive. So
you know what? I am glad you talked about gun shy, because that brings up my next point about this game. So looking at the stats, you guys were crushing it throwing the ball. You were doing well throwing the ball against our we're gonna say suspect secondary. And then y'all decided, oh, you know what? Gordon Minshew, the hair, let's run it instead. It ain't work out so well for y'all. Who is y'all running back anyway? Oh, White, 44 whole yards. 44 whole yards.
But let's also remember too, he had 2 big runs that were wiped out by very questionable holding calls.
Hey, look, I ain't the referee on the field.
One call. I know. Listen, I'm just saying. If you look at the replay, one of those holding calls was on. It was away from the ball. Like the run was to the left, and the right side ref called the hold. It had nothing to do with the play. Like, come on, bro. Let them play on the field. Don't do that to us. But again,
and I respect that. I hear you.
But again, whatever the game is the game, and
the game is the game indeed. So you let us rush for 176 yards. I'm like, oh, yeah, rush like that
140 of them in the second half. And until
I noticed that,
and until the last 4 minutes of the game, basically Justin Herbert was a non-factor.
He was. I 100% agree. Because you look at it, it was like, at the end of the third quarter, it was 9-7. Dicker, the kicker, was doing his thing. He was doing what we paying him to do. He was kicking because we ain't had nothing else going for us. But then, you know what? The Raiders started raidering. And they're like, you know what? We're good. We played our 3 quarters. We ain't got to play the 4th because we're going to win this game. We just need someone to take a field goal. Good. You're like, what? And y'all didn't take a field
goal. Both big gashes at the end of the game came on 3rd down blitzes. So there was a big run for a touchdown. It was a 3rd down blitz. And then on the single passing touchdown by Herbert, basically we threw 8 in the box, and everybody, the secondary had to play zone. 7 in the box, secondary had to play zone. Man got open on a crossing route. He avoided the tackle and got in the end zone. Like, I make no excuses. It was not a good game for us. So,
and and I know I'm supposed to be taking this time to talk about our matchups, but I just wanted to bring up the game.
This was more. I mean, the fantasy matchup is what it is. Baker Mayfield basically came out and shot his load, and that's why you won. We ain't gotta beat ourselves up over that.
And it's all about matchups, brother. I'm like, Baker Mayfield against Washington, or I had freaking Trevor Lawrence against Miami. That's kind of a no-brainer. I'm like, I'm taking anyone against Washington at this point. I don't care who the hell they're playing. I'm taking anyone against Washington. I'll take Cleveland over freaking Washington's quarterback. So I'm like, I knew, okay, maybe not Cleveland, but I'm just using that as an example. Don't look at me like that, Colin. But I'm just saying, I would take almost anybody. So
we had our chances. So
yes, you
my
did.
miss
I'm glad
my
you had Reed
miss
on the bench.
was not starting my quarterback wide receiver stack. That was my miss. So I had an opportunity, but I won't cry over either game because there's a whole lot of football left.
Yes,
So
there is. And
just understand.
as my last point of this, and then I will jump off my little soapbox. If anybody's feeling froggy and wants to check out Twitter at Debo, you're going to see a beautiful Chargers emblem next to his name. And I know how much he enjoys that. So please, if you're watching this podcast, go on to Twitter or whatever the hell X is called now. But anyway, go on there. Look at Debo. He would love to make a new friend.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, look up at Debo because that is not my Twitter handle.
Well, it's what I'll look this shit up. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But don't get it twisted. I'll look that shit up right now. But
it is at DDM Junior 79. I don't hide from it.
My bad.
I get as well as I give. And please believe me, I am writing this down in blood for week 18 of the NFL season. You please believe. he already
below for you, brother. You know this. And when we pounce you at the end of the season, I don't want to hear about it.
You already know. Thank you very much. So then let's go to the other matchup that we had with our other co-host, Stairway to Evans versus the Big Green, in what turned out to be the nail biter of the week. So I'll break this one down since we don't usually let people break down their own games. It do so rarely broke down our game. So this was our closest game of the week. Two former champions facing off. I mean, it's literally anybody. It was literally anybody's matchup all the way up to the end here. And I'm just looking at the final results of. I mean, if it wasn't for Dallas's defense, I mean, just this game definitely would not have been as close as it was if it wasn't for Dallas's defense. So that was the other thing is we just quick side note, right? Dallas's defense, Chicago's defense, who else's defense had a good game? The Chargers defense had some good sack totals. Texans defense put up some ridiculous numbers this weekend. Like this weekend, and again, I know some fantasy podcasts who we won't name this week, we're talking about the pointlessness of looking at defenses and how they don't matter. But we had some kickers and defenses that were absolute game changers this past weekend. So yeah, don't get it twisted. Dallas's defense almost helped the Big Green pull the upset off in this game. And I do see that we have much like me with Jordan Love, we have a casualty on the Stairway to Evans bench early in this season. So, Jared, how do you think that's going to affect your team in the weeks coming forward?
You got to draft. You got to have people on your bench that can step up. And I believe that Brian Thomas Jr. can be that person.
Indeed.
Because I really don't believe Jerry Jeudy is going to be a long-term fix because Deshaun Watson looked horrible.
Man, but so and it begs the question, right? Was it Deshaun Watson? Is he that bad? Or is Dallas's defense still just that good? What you think, Deuce?
I don't know. I mean, I say Dallas's defense is probably that good for now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just say that they're that good for now, and I'm gonna leave it at for now. I don't think they're gonna sustain it, but they're that good for now.
All right. Jared, what do you say?
I believe that Mr. Watson has not been the same since he left Houston and his plethora of masseuses. And that's all. I don't know what was going on here, but he was playing well in the city of Houston. He no longer is in Houston. I'm assuming he probably doesn't have a group of masseuses who are helping him relax between games. And
maybe there's not so many in the Cleveland area. We don't know.
They might. I don't. I just believe that Houston is bigger than Cleveland, so there's probably a more variety here. I'm just going to go with that.
I will say this. I know a little bit about the ladies of Ohio. They have some nice women up there. I've been lucky enough to in my travels meet some nice women from Ohio, but it's not Houston. So I think maybe I don't know if Deshaun starts seeing if his account starts seeing a whole bunch of Texas flights popping up on this expense account, we can have a guess on what is being flown in order to help Deshaun get through his troubles. I mean, when you have a routine, you have a routine. And so when that gets taken away, things change. So hey, so just a quick look at the other games from week 1 from our league. Two boobs, two balls, obviously high score for the week. They won their game hanging with Hernandez. Super Mario Crystal Balling pulled out the win over Benchboro and Deal. Now, these two teams were very diametrically opposed when they were reviewed by both Yahoo and by our external podcast review. Benchboro and Deal, they should probably follow their team name based on the way that Joe Burrow looked on Sunday. Um, Even though we didn't talk about it, you want to talk about a surprising result. I think that Cincinnati New England game was probably the game that a lot of people picked in those survivor leagues, and that probably put a whole bunch of people out of their survivor leagues because you wouldn't expect a team that looks that bad, rookie head coach. I don't even know who played quarter. Put it like this: I didn't even watch the game. I don't even know who played quarterback for New England in Sunday's game. That's how much I didn't pay attention to that game. But
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby's the starter. Okay. And it's not like Super Mario's team did anything, but again, kicker. His kicker put up 20. Oh, New Orleans. That was the other defense I was trying to remember. New Orleans defense putting up 16 points against the Panthers.
What about Minnesota? They played the Giants. They had to put up 20 plus.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. Again, Daniel Jones. 2 picks already. What did he have? Did he have 1 or 2 picks on Sunday? Let's take a look real quick.
He probably had.
I know he had at least 1 because it's Daniel Jones. I don't even have to check the stats to know he had at least 1. It is Daniel Jones we're talking about. So, I mean.
According to the stats, I'm seeing I pulled it up. Minnesota defense scored 23 points in our league. They allowed 6 points. They had 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. One of those was a pick 6.
Yep. So there you have it. Yeah. And then the other 2 winners, Company Man put a little bit of whooping on Kirkwood. I mean, sometimes it's just the matchups because Kirkwood would have beat 1, 2, 3, 4 5 other teams. He just happened to run into a team that put up the second most points this week. And then Ed Corn versus Muff Divers. So again, our defending champion, even though he got a goose egg from his kicker, who was a late scratch in the game. Wasn't paying attention to the waiver that morning. But yeah, so even with a kicker that gave him a goose egg, he still managed to pull out a healthy victory against Muff Divers, who, if I'm not mistaken, still looking for their first championship as well. So yeah, so Muff Divers, we with you, baby. So got to get on that winning column to get into the playoffs. So I'm there with you, my brother. All right. So after 1 week, here are standings. So Deuce and I are tied. So first of all, let's just remember last year, somehow, for the first time ever, even though we've only been doing this 3 years, I know for the first time ever, somehow Deuce finished last season in the lead, which was unacceptable to me. That's just unacceptable. Like I can take him beat me in a fantasy game. I don't like it, that I have to change my Twitter profile. But one thing I'm not gonna lose to him on is these weekly picks. So there's a line, damn it.
And that's what you did in the weekly picks. I don't want it out. But again, I don't like living that. But I damn sure got one.
So we starting the season off tied. Jared I mean, it's still so early. Basically, it's one pick separating us at this point. But we're gonna jump right into the week 2 picks to see how we're gonna roll this thing out next week. So we're gonna just go through these pretty quickly. Oh, since Mathis King is really feeling himself, and I know that he actually has to face Ed Corn in another league that we're all in together. Let's start off with this game. Jared, break this one down and tell us who you like.
Oh, you know, this one's gonna hurt a little bit because I think this might be. I think Mathis King goes to 2-0. I do not like Tua versus Buffalo. It's a Thursday game. Hurt running backs. Now he just got to sling it, and we know he can sling it to Tyreek. We know he can sling it to Waddle. But if you ain't got no running game, it makes you one dimensional. I don't like the production coming from Tua this week. I don't like Jamar Chase. We just talked about how bad they looked. I don't like him against Kansas City. I don't. Now, I do like Joe Mixon. I'm pretty sure he picked up a kicker, but
he got Kansas City's kicker.
Even with that Chicago defense, you still like Mixon this week?
I do.
Okay.
I don't expect him to do like he did last week, but I do expect him to I expect him to produce a nice amount.
He picked up the he picked up the MAGA kicker himself, Harrison Butker. Shout out to Harrison Butker. His wife can't hear this because she's in the kitchen. But anyway.
Yeah, that man said he stands on business.
Right.
I'm just going to look at what we've seen. Cleveland did not look good on Sunday. I believe that Trevor Lawrence can have a bounce back game and do something. I believe that Brandon Ayuk finally gets his life together. He looked.
Get some training under him so he can catch the ball.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw what Peyton Manning said on the Manning cast.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the Manning cast, but I can imagine what was said about a player who's hasn't had any. I mean, passing in the NFL, it's timing, and you develop that timing when you guys practice together and you throw together in games and in game situations. You don't have that. You don't have anything.
But yeah, I just looking at this.
And Derrick Henry against the Raiders defense who likes to let people run. Just throwing it out there.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I do believe that Derrick Henry might be able to do a little something this week to make up for last week. He didn't really perform as well as some.
He did enough. He did enough.
That game is not going to do what y'all think it's going to do. Derrick Henry's going to have a very similar game to what he had last week. He's going to have about 60 yards, and he's probably going to get a short yardage touchdown because he is still.
Because Lamar's going to run it most of the time.
Exactly. I mean, Derrick Henry's he's still Derrick damn Henry. Don't get it twisted. So, but yeah. So I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm actually going to go with Mathis King.
I knew you were smart.
The matchups are in his favor this week, and since he's not facing me, I don't have to, agonize over the pick. Even though last week I liked my matchups better, I actually do like Mathis King's matchups this week. So we'll go with. I'd say we have a consensus for the first pick this week, so we're all picking Mathis King. And I hope he loses, even though I picked him.
Cold-blooded.
The hate is real tonight.
You better believe it. All right, Super Mario Crystal Ballin versus the Big Green. Dr. Deuce, who do you like in this one?
Okay, so for Super Mario, I think Herbert's going to do great against Carolina. I mean, because it's Carolina. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. But I mean, go back up real quick.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, you good. I mean, I like the matchup better with Super Mario. However, I am picking the Big Green to win for the sheer fact that ETN is going to make up for his fumble, and he's going to do something actually probably pretty good for Jacksonville. Dak Prescott against New Orleans. I mean, he did get all that money, so he tried to show out this past week. So he's trying to say, "Look, I actually deserve being the highest paid quarterback in the league." So I'm going to give the edge to Big Green, but closer than the points say.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that, including the final result. Um, Dak Prescott is not um is not going to have the same problems that the Panthers had throwing the ball, but he's not going to produce the same way he did last week. Like that's just not. He's not going to put those kind of numbers up against the Saints defense. The Saints don't just have a good defense against the Panthers. They actually have a good defense. They have a great secondary. Honey Badgers back there roaming around all the damn time, making plays. They have a great front four. So, I mean, I can see them taking away the element of the run in this game, and which means Dak's going to have to throw. So that's going to be good for some points, but Dak could also be forced into making mistakes in that situation where they know that he has to throw the ball. So that being said, I still roll with Big Green in a much closer matchup than the projection spread. Super Mario's got to get a tight end. He seems to have the curse of Ed Corn rolling in that tight end spot with one on the unable to perform list and one tight end out. So he's going to have to do something there to fill that roster spot. But unless he has the ghost of Tony Gonzalez coming in to fill the spot this weekend, I don't see him bringing in a tight end off the bench that's going to be able to make up this projected deficit. What about you, Jared?
Oh, I think this is going to be 2 in a row that we are unanimous because Dak Prescott didn't do nothing last week because Cleveland was so bad that he didn't have to do much.
Right.
I think he threw for about 175 yards. The $60 million man going to do something this week.
Yeah, he had 179 and a touch. Yeah.
Yeah, he going to do something this week.
So
you can't pay that man $60 million. He don't do nothing.
Right, and I think that New Orleans defense is going to force him to do a little something. All right. Let's look at DBT Kirkwood and Muff Divers. Both of them sitting at 0-1 after last week. Jared, who do you like in this one?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I am going to go with scroll down for me. Who is on Muff Diver's bench for running back? Because most of it's already been marked. Who does he have? Yeah, that boy has. Oh, he got Justice Hill down there. So we'll just say Justice Hill takes that running back spot.
Yeah.
Oh. I am gonna go with you know what? I'm gonna go with Muff Divers because we just said that Dak Prescott is gonna have to actually do something this week. And I believe CeeDee Lamb, just like Brandon Ayuk, who skipped training camp holding out for a new contract, is gonna be a little bit better than he was last week. Dak is gonna have to pass the ball. So I believe that's going to lead to some points. I believe that Marvin Harrison will finally get into the groove with
Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's be clear.
Marvin Harrison, yes, Jr. Let's make sure because there was, little micro mini quarterback missed him on a wide open when he was out there by himself and he missed him. Probably because he couldn't see him. Couldn't see him.
Which is the problem. Which is actually my problem this week, but we'll get to that when we look at my game. Okay, so you're going with Muff Divers?
I am going to go with Muff Divers.
So we have our first opposite pick of the night. I'm actually going to go with Kirkwood because what we saw from the 49ers last Monday is that they have a system that they can use at the running back position, and Kirkwood did a great job of handcuffing the backup. So Run CMC expected to be back this week and be back in the starting lineup. So I think that whether it's him or whether you put Mason in there, I don't think there's going to be a drop off. Uh, Jalen Hurts versus the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons again, they're not a good team on either side of the ball. They're decent on defense, but Philadelphia has a pretty high-powered offense, and the Falcons are going to key on not allowing Saquon Barkley to do to them what he did to the Packers, and I think it's going to open up opportunities for Jalen Hurts to get the ball to his two dynamic wide receivers. And so, Lord knows it's not like he doesn't have weapons to get the ball to. So I think that Jalen Hurts has a good game throwing the ball, and that gives Kirkwood the edge in this game. Dr. Deuce.
I'm going to have to say Muff Divers for the sure fact is Lamar Jackson's going to run through the Raiders. He runs through just about everybody, but he's going to run through the Raiders. And as long as he puts Hill in there, I think he'll be fine. And to Jared's point, Dak's going to have to throw it. CeeDee Lamb's going to eat. San Francisco's defense against Minnesota, they're going to get points. So I don't believe it's going to be that close.
All right. Indeed. So, Devastator versus Hanging with Hernandez. Dr. Deuce, who do you like in this game? And I'm not
Who do I like or who am I picking?
Who you pick? I'm not picking against myself this week, so this ain't that. So who do you think is gonna win this matchup?
I think Devastator's gonna win this matchup.
I know they had to hurt. Oh, I know they had to hurt.
That's why I wanted clarification. Who do I like or who do I think gonna win? Two different answers. So, but no, on the real, I think Devastator's gonna win this one for show fact. It was a good pickup to pick up the Chargers defense against Carolina. The Raiders kick the ball fairly well when they, kick it and don't go for it on fourth down. So that should get them some points there. Kyler Murray, I mean, if he can see over that damn offensive line to see wide open receivers, he should have a pretty good game. I mean, I think Richardson against Green Bay's defense, it's hard to say. I think he's going to have a decent game, but I'm not sure. But honestly, I think I'm going to give a slight edge, but I think it's going to be by like a point or less.
That's all I need, baby. Jared, what about you?
I'm going with Devastator as well. I think that Saquon rides the hot hand from Brazil, comes in hot because that Atlanta defense, it's all right. I believe that Josh Jacobs is going to have to produce because does anyone trust Malik Willis? I don't. I don't think they do, but whatever. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have to – I think he gets, as they say, get on the good foot because he didn't do much in that game because Anthony Richardson kept taking off and throwing moon shots to receivers. I think they try to get him started this week and put it all together. Devastator gets his first win of the season.
Wouldn't mind that at all.
And last.
Dang, that's just cold. And then in our last matchup, we have two boobs, two balls, one goal versus Bench, Burrow, and Deal. This is a pretty simple one for me. Don't have to take a whole lot. I still think two boobs, two balls has the better team. Bench, Burrow, and Deal has some roster challenges, and I don't think that he has enough to overcome two boobs, two balls, one goal this week. Yeah. Jared, what do you think?
That's pretty much the best way to put it. I don't think that his team has gelled to win. Not this week.
Dr. Deuce?
We're all in agreement. I just don't want to get another one of those stupid statements.
Right. So he can win without being the high scorer. It'll stop us from getting another soliloquy. And so now he definitely can't say that this is the first time that anybody ever picked him and that we never loved him and we always talk bad about him and made him feel sad and hurt his feelings. So all right, so there we have it. Our week 2 picks are in.
Are we missing a game? Didn't we miss Carolyn's game against Company Man?
Oh, we sure did. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, we
I'm
have.
looking at the spreadsheet, so that's more like I ain't got nothing to listen for y'all
Oh,
to.
I
So I mean,
appreciate that. So yes, Dr. Deuce, since you remembered first, tell us who we got.
all right. So apparently, I'm picking nothing but our co-host this week because I got Stairway to Evans winning this game. I think Stroud's gonna have a good game against Chicago. I really do. I don't. I like Chicago's defense. Don't get me wrong, but I think Stroud's going to do something. St. Brown's going to do something too. I mean, I really like Detroit. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really like what Detroit's doing. I am not a Detroit Lions fan. Let's be honest. I am not a damn Detroit Lions fan, but I do like what they're putting together over there. I think they're like one or two players away from running the damn NFC, in my opinion. But I like his matchups. I like Edward. I like Andrews. Excuse me. I think Andrews is going to do something. The Colts defense against Green Bay is a little suspect, but I'm going to let that one slide. But the only thing I think Company Man has going for, well, the only two things I think he has going for him is Waddle and Mahomes. Mahomes didn't have that many points last week. I mean, granted, they were playing Baltimore. Don't get me wrong, but and I think he's going to do much better against Cincinnati. But I mean, they're playing what in Cincy too? Where are they playing
Yeah.
at? Yeah, they in Cincy.
No, yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I think Mahomes is going to get his points. Don't get me wrong. I don't know about 20, but
No, they're
he'll
home.
get his points.
They're at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way,
home.
I think he'll get his points. You know, hopefully we don't see Taylor Swift on the damn thing, but you know, he gonna get his points. And Waddle's gonna possibly get his on Thursday, maybe. I mean, Tariq might get most of it, you know. But Waddle get his catches, but I don't really see anybody else contributing enough. Maybe Philly's defense, but I don't think enough to offset Jared winning.
I agree. I'm also going to go with Stairway to Evans. No Puka Nakua means the Cooper Cup is going to get the kind of targets that he was used to getting back in the year they won the Super Bowl, and he was leading the league and everything receiving wise. So I think that's going to be a great game. I hate Thursday night game. I love Jalen Waddle. Hate Thursday night games. They notoriously score very low and produce very low from a fantasy standpoint. Xavier Worthy is not so the challenge when you have rookies like him is that there's no film on him yet. So you don't know how, and Andy Reid is very good about hiding the way he's going to use. So of course he wasn't used all the ways they used him last week against the Ravens. He wasn't used like that in the preseason. Now the league has at least 1 week of tape and they are alerted to the different ways that they're going to be able to use his speed. He's not Tyreek yet in that offense. He has the potential to be moved around and used all the ways that they used Tyreek back in his heyday. So Xavier Worthy has that level of speed, but I think that Cincinnati is going to be a much more prepared for it than Baltimore was last week. You don't know what the hell you're gonna get when it comes to the Saints week to week. As a person who had Derek Carr as his team's quarterback for many years, I know the struggles of Carr's consistency week to week. The Panthers defense is pretty bad, so it made Carr look really good last week. And it was a game where he had no pressure. He played from the front the whole game, so there was no pressure. He's not going to have that luxury against Dallas. That game is going to be tight. He's going to have to make some tight throws. And that is traditionally where Derek Carr has gotten himself in trouble with his decision making. So I don't like any of the Saints receivers this weekend. So I think that is going to help Stairway to Evans keep his edge going and get the win this weekend.
You know, it's kind of funny after all these picks. This is the first time that I can remember that me and Calvin have exactly the same picks on every single match. Usually, there's always at least one that we differ from. And like Debo, you, me, and him only differ from one game. You pick Kirkwood and we pick Muff. That's it. So, but I've never, that I can recall, since we've been doing this, have me and Calvin pick the same damn team. So I'm a little worried right now.
Well, we're going to find out. Either we're all going to be tied next week or I'm going to have a 1-game lead.
We can't all be tied next week and you have, you have 1 game lead. Damn, man. True. Math was not your strong suit, was it, brother? You must be a Raiders fan.
That was a quick thing, Mr. PhD in math.
Oh, man.
Right. So then let's move on. This week we do have a lineup request this week. So Jared, this request came through you. So talk us through the request from this person, and then we'll start off with your feedback.
This is a Superflex League, PPR League, dual flex at that. So yeah, this is a
So,
very
so,
interesting league.
so when
To
you
say the
say
least.
dual flex, super flex, meaning that they can literally play any position in the flex, can they play another quarter? Can they play three quarterbacks or only two quarterbacks?
They're going they can only play two quarterbacks. One of those flexes is a super flex. One is just your regular
I got you.
running back, wide receiver, tight end flex.
Okay. All
So
right.
you got Christian McCaffrey. If he plays, you play him. If not, it's iffy. If he doesn't play, I would go with Bucky Irving because I have more faith in him than Alexander Madison. Because Alexander Madison seems to be that backup who just pops up every once in a while, give you a good game, but he's not anywhere close to consistent.
Right.
His running backs are not very good.
No, they're not. Yeah, keep going.
I guess technically you could move Chuba Hubbard up to running back if CMC doesn't play, and you could bring. I would assume the best bet would be Romeo Dobbs, but I really don't trust Malik Willis. So once again, you might be back to Bucky Irving or Alexander Madison. You only got two quarterbacks, so you got to play those two. Wide receivers, Keon Coleman, Gabe Davis. Yeah, like his bench is very blah.
Gabe is down in Jacksonville now, right?
He is.
Okay.
So
I
I think
like.
against Cleveland, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman versus, as long as, he goes against Miami, as long as he's not going up against Jalen Ramsey, he might be all right because I can't think of who's on the other side.
How did he draft this bench?
With his eyes closed, I'm guessing.
I mean,
it's an auction league.
okay.
Oh, he
Okay,
shot
that's a
his,
little different
he,
then.
he
Yeah,
shot
it's
his
an
load
auction.
in the early rounds then.
Yeah.
And he ain't say nothing for the bench. Cause I mean, I'm looking at this bench like, ooh, this is a lot of youth. The bench is not very deep. It's either youth or who's
Actually,
that?
And what's he gonna do if Christian McCaffrey don't play?
Because
Take it out?
what happened was
Because Chuba Hubbard is not the long-term answer. Ask me how I know from a fantasy standpoint.
this is an auction league, and he didn't get on in time, so the
Oh,
computer got him B. John Robinson, Christian McCaffrey by the time he got on, he already had both of them. He put his money into Patrick Mahomes and basically said auto draft and got back off.
Damn.
Yeah, that's about what you have.
He
All right,
should have let the computer keep going because the computer was doing okay early on.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think so. Okay, all things considered, I don't make any recommendations to the starters at this point, barring any injuries. I think that this lineup is what he spent his money on. He needs to invest or make some trades because I don't have all the stats on who's gonna win the running backs.
I was gonna say bye weeks
Weeks
because
are.
he's gonna be hurting.
But if any of these guys, if any of these running backs have the same bye week, he's screwed. Because that is a very thin position on his roster. So definitely recommend shoring up that running back room to get a little bit more talent on the bench. Throw a little bit of money at somebody. Yeah, I wouldn't make any changes because, like you said, Romeo Dobbs would be attractive if Jordan Love was playing, but with Malik Willis, I mean, there's a reason why the Titans got rid of him, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Deuce, what about you? Any other additional comments on this?
No, you said it all. I'm good. I got nothing. I don't know what the hell to say to this. Yeah, hope and pray no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, his starters are who his starters are. It's not like he can sub out for somebody else unless he makes a trade with somebody.
Right. All right. Well,
It's not great.
that is the bulk of what we have this week. Gentlemen, what games are you looking forward to in week 2 in the NFL?
That's a good damn question. I mean, outside of my Chargers, I'm probably looking forward to the most, honestly. I can't believe I'm saying this here. I got Raiders game.
I get that. I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best players in the NFL. Like, I'm looking. Believe me, I'm cheering for my team to get the W. But I'm always excited when I get the chance to see a player of his caliber on the screen. How about you, Jared?
Let's try this again. I want to see the $1 million man in his home debut with this new contract. I want to see what him and CeeDee Lamb do. They both got new contracts. Let's see.
All right, thanks, Jared. And then the game I'm looking forward to is another matchup of two young quarterbacks. I'm looking forward to the Bears-Texans game. Uh, Fair or not, and Bears fans and other people have said that it's not necessarily fair to compare or expect that Caleb Williams should have the same level of success that CJ Stroud had last year. And to that, I say, you know what? Tough. You're a Heisman Trophy winner. You were Mr. Hold out on your contract. You were Mr. Hey, look at me. I'm the man, all that other stuff. Well, now is the time to show and prove, and it has to happen on the field. And now you get a chance to go out there against the quarterback who they at who the quarterback who should be your expectation level. Not necessarily maybe the playoffs, but in terms of production, I think that CJ Stroud's numbers from last year are reasonable to hold in a reasonable expectation to hold Caleb Williams to for his rookie season. Uh, if you're humble, then people are willing to give you grace. But when you have the arrogance that Caleb Williams has, and you have to have that to become a professional quarterback, but then you got to take everything that comes with it. So Sunday night, you're going to have a stark comparison of what a year one QB in the NFL looks like versus a year two. So we shall see. All right. Well, that's everything we have for week 2. Looking forward to some good football starting on Thursday night. Don't forget to set those rosters, double check those injury reports. If that waiver wire upgrade your team, best of luck to your team and your fantasy teams. If you want to send in your roster for us to give some feedback on your lineup, please just reach out to us and we'll be happy to review and give our feedback. Until next time, have a great day.